Okay, so today we're diving into, well, happiness. Your quest for it, actually. You sent over these podcast script excerpts.
Very meta.
It is, isn't it? And it's like getting a peek into someone's personal guide to letting go of, well, negativity and finding joy.
It is a unique approach. I mean, don't you think? This whole surrendering thing as like a path to happiness, it kind of challenges that whole, gotta strive, gotta achieve mentality.
Totally. It's really interesting how this script flips the script, you could say, on surrender. It's not giving up, but like
Yeah.
this powerful acceptance thing. Where does it even start with that?
Well, it starts with something honestly kind of radical, like really embracing all your
All
emotions.
of them.
Yeah, not just the happy, shiny ones, but the anger, sadness, the disappointments, all that. The script emphasizes acknowledging those, like without judgment, almost like greeting them instead of trying to like shove them under the rug.
That's so true. We're always told to just like squash down those negative emotions. But this script is saying lean in. That's the first step.
Exactly. It's about saying, hey, you're valid, you're there, accepting them. But then this is important, releasing them, holding on to resentment, anger. Those things chain us to like the very things that are keeping us from actual happiness.
Okay, feel it to heal it. Got it. What's next on this like recipe for letting go?
Well, then the script gets into mindfulness. It's big on stuff like focused breathing, meditation, all that, as a way to stay present, to combat the anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, the things that throw us off.
Yeah, I get that. That presence of mind, being aware of right now. I can
Yeah.
see how that would create space for happiness to like actually exist.
Right. When you're really present, you're not stuck in the past or worrying about the future, both huge joy stealers. This mindful awareness, the script suggests, it helps us let go of thoughts, habits, things that aren't doing us any favors, makes room for what matters.
So out with the old, in with the new, basically.
Yeah.
What's the tone of this script, by the way? Is it like a lecture or more conversational?
It's surprisingly relatable. The language is very down to earth. It makes it all feel doable, even welcoming.
I like that. Okay, so acknowledging our feelings, practicing mindfulness, check and check. What's the next ingredient in this happiness recipe?
This is where it gets really powerful, I think. It talks about forgiveness.
Ooh, okay.
And not just forgiving other people, but forgiving ourselves. Which, let's be honest,
Way harder.
it is. And the script frames this as like the ultimate act of self-compassion. Now, it's not about saying hurtful actions are okay, but about choosing to release yourself from that burden of the past, breaking free from the guilt, the resentment. It even calls forgiveness a gift you give yourself.
A gift.
Yeah.
Why a gift? What's so powerful about forgiveness?
Well, think about it. When you hold on to anger, resentment, whether it's towards yourself or someone else, you're kind of holding yourself hostage to the past, right? It's
Yeah.
a heavy weight. It drains you, keeps you stuck. Forgiveness is putting that weight down. And then all that energy that frees up, that's where you get to experience more joy, lightness, being present.
Wow, yeah. Okay, so we're acknowledging, we're practicing mindfulness, embracing forgiveness. What else does this script highlight on this path to letting go and, actually being happy?
It shifts gears a bit and talks about gratitude, actively focusing on what's good,
Yeah.
appreciating what you have, even when things are tough.
It's like that saying, right? Gratitude turns what we have into enough. I've been trying to be more grateful lately, and I got to say, it really does make a difference. It's so easy to get stuck in the negative, but actually looking for things to appreciate, even little things, it changes your whole outlook.
Totally. It even suggests writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day. It says that simple act can really shift your perspective, help you see the good stuff in everyday moments.
Retraining your brain to focus on the positive,
Yeah.
basically. So we've got acknowledging feelings, practicing mindfulness, forgiveness, and gratitude. That's a lot. It's like this script is building this whole case for how those practices lead to more happiness. But there's still this surrender thing. We haven't really unpacked that. What does surrendering to happiness even look like, and how does it fit in with all this?
Well, that's where things get interesting. It seems to be saying that surrender isn't about giving up, like resigning yourself to being unhappy, but more about letting go of needing to control everything to force outcomes. It's about trusting that life, it have a process. Things will work out the way they should, even if we can't see the big picture yet.
Right. I get that. Like that tight grip on how we think things should be, that can really mess us up inside. It can block us from actually feeling joy.
Exactly. When we let go of that need to micromanage every little thing, when we surrender to how it's flowing, it opens up space for opportunities, for experiences we might have totally missed. It's about embracing the unknown, trusting that even the challenges, the setbacks, they can lead to something way better.
So we're talking about really surrendering to how life unfolds,
Okay.
even when it feels, uncertain, messy even.
It is a huge shift, for sure. Instead of fighting what is, you're like, okay, maybe this will lead to something good. Something you wouldn't have gotten if you'd been stuck on your own plan.
It's like those times you have to take a detour and you end up finding this amazing place you never knew existed.
Right, and that's where the trust comes in. Trusting that the universe, or however you see it, has a plan, even if right now we're like, what is happening?
Okay, so we've got acknowledging our feelings, being mindful, forgiveness, gratitude, and this whole surrendering thing. It all comes back to letting go. But how does that actually become happiness? Is it really as simple as, like, drop the negativity, boom, happy?
Oh, I wish. If only. But this script seems to be saying that happiness it naturally follows letting go. When you stop gripping so tightly to how you think things should be, when there's forgiveness, gratitude, trust, it's like you make space for joy to come through. You're getting the obstacles out of the way.
So it's not about chasing happiness down, but making room for it to, like, grow on its own.
Exactly. And what's even cooler is how it talks about happiness as a journey. It's not like you reach happy and you're done. It's about finding those moments of joy along the way, no matter what.
Which brings us back to mindfulness, huh? Being present, appreciating the good stuff, even the little things we might normally miss.
Totally. It's a conscious choice to shift your perspective.
Hmm.
Focus on what you can control, your own thoughts, your reactions, instead of getting swept up in everything else.
This is really making sense to me. It's like all these different pieces, acknowledging, accepting, releasing, trusting, they build on each other, this whole, like, happiness mosaic. But this script, it's almost like someone's personal instruction manual for joy. Like they took these universal ideas and made their own recipe for a good life.
And that's what makes it so relatable, you know? These practices have been around forever, but the way this lays it out, it feels fresh, approachable.
It's like a choose your own adventure for happiness. You've got these core principles, the acknowledging, the mindfulness, forgiving, being grateful, surrendering, and you can play with it, see what fits you, your life.
Exactly. It's about you having the power to create a life that's full of joy.
Because really, isn't that what we all want? More joy, more meaning, more of those genuinely happy moments?
Absolutely. And what this reminds us is we've got more control over our own happiness than we think. It's not about waiting for everything outside to be perfect. It's about that peace inside, that deep down contentment, no matter what's going on around us.
That is powerful. We've covered so much, but it feels like it comes down to this, letting go of what's holding us back, seeing the beauty in right now, and trusting that our own journey, whatever it looks like, is unfolding exactly as it should.
Beautifully said. And like we always say, the real magic happens when we actually take this stuff and use it.
So if you had to leave our listener with one last thought, one question, to get them thinking about their own happiness, what would it be? It's like we keep coming back to this idea of you're in charge of your own happiness. It's not about other people or waiting for things to be perfect, but finding that joy inside no matter what life throws at you.
And that's pretty huge when you think about it. It means happiness isn't this far off thing, but something we can choose to work towards one step at a time.
100%.
Yeah.
And like any good journey, it's less about sticking to the plan and more about, exploring, figuring out what works for you. This script, it's almost like an invitation to do exactly that.
Right. It's not saying do this, this, and this, then you'll be happy. It's more like here's some tools, try them out, see what fits your life.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, this whole looking at surrendering to happiness,
Yeah.
what's the most important thing for our listener to take away?
You know, if I had to leave everyone with just one question, it'd be this. We talked about all these practices, right? The acknowledging how you feel, mindfulness, forgiveness, being grateful, surrendering to how things are. Which one really stuck with you? Which one feels important to where you are right now on your own journey? Maybe it's time to pick one and see what happens.